people call those binary options. Like, hey, if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, I get money. If they don't, I don't. Products.
Hypothetical, though, right?
I'm still so happy I can't tell you. I'm sorry. But
He's from Philly.
But what I want to say about that type of product and retail investors is if someone can't explain it to you, like Commissioner Pivar explained about leveraged ETFs, and that this is a product that really only makes sense for a very short period of time, don't invest in it. I don't know.
I'm going to go even further. If you're spending as much time as you are trying to understand that product as an investment advisor, maybe you should not be engaged in it. Like, one of the lessons for me from the financial crisis is everybody came in to tell us about the wonderful financial products that they had available, and they were diversifying risk all over the world, and you could put all of these bad mortgages in one pool and it would just work out great. Was, if you can't understand it, maybe there is something a little bit wrong with it. So think about that.
But I'm happy to catch you afterward on your technical question.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go way in the back there. Yep. Yes.
My question is, should we, as 401k investors, have any concerns? I know for me personally, I rarely make any changes to my 401k account, and I just didn't know if there's something we should, as investors in 401ks, should know.
Would you like to take that?
No, it's a very important question, and again, just to make sure everyone heard it, the question is, I don't make a lot of changes often to my 401k account. Is that okay? So first, yes. I think if you make the decision that you're comfortable with your investments and you're comfortable with those over the long run, I think that's just fine. But what I would urge you to do is ask yourself that question on an ongoing basis. That is, when you get that statement, take a good look and ask yourself, what am I investing in? And is this right for me? And the reason I say that is because you might find that as your needs change, as your plans change, with respect to your career, with respect to retirement, with respect to your family, you might decide that you need a different mix. And that would be the time to make those changes. One last thing I'll say about this. This is an area where investment advisors can be especially useful. Where you can say to somebody, I've got this balance, I've been working on putting it away, it was in a set of investments that made a lot of sense to me when I made those decisions 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I'm wondering, do they still make sense for me today? And if so, why? And if not, why not? I think those are very, very healthy questions to ask, and I think you should. But if it turns out that being invested in our markets over the long run, mostly in the kind of easy-to-understand, straightforward indexes or other types of products that have assured millions of Americans retirements for years, I think that's an okay thing, as long as you feel that you have a good grasp of why you're doing it and checking in on that status every once in a while.
I would also just say, check your fees. Just make sure your fees make sense, because you get feed, on a regular basis. But thank you very much. We got time for maybe two more. Right here, sir.
Yes, Lee Baker, president of AARP for the state of Georgia. Could you explain to us how the regulation best interest differs from suitability regulations for brokers under current FINRA rules?
Okay, let me give the question. The question is, we're proposing to raise the level of obligation required of a broker-dealer when they're making a recommendation. And the question here is it different from what they have today? The short answer is yes. Let me give you an example. In suitability, if you come up with two investments that are suitable for your client, this is the standard today, there are people who will argue that you are allowed to look at which investment makes you, the broker, more money, and put the client into that investment. This is just an example. Under our new standard, you will not be allowed to do that. You cannot put your interests ahead of your client's interests. We're going to add to that. This is a proposal. Let me be clear. We all have views. We want your views. You guys sent us a letter yesterday. Thank you. No, we want it. Bring it in. Bring it in. We are going to require policies and procedures so that the exercise the broker-dealer goes through to get to that place where they're going to make a recommendation also reflects a duty of care that is enhanced. Okay? I got one more. Thank you. I don't know. How can I decide? I'm going to go right in the middle, right there.
If you were attempting to do a security offering that's compliant, say Reg E or Reg S or both, it's an incredibly complicated and expensive process. Is there any effort to maybe simplify that?
Another short answer? Yes. No, I'm happy for others to weigh in. We are looking at our private placement rules. They can use a sprucing up. Now, let me be clear about a commission and a government agency. We have limited resources. We have to prioritize what we do. But I think we all recognize that the private placement space can benefit from technology without adversely affecting investor protection. So we have to wrap it up there to stay on time, but I want to give my colleagues, if anybody wants to have a last comment. Certainly. Terrific.
All right, we'll try that again. We've had some microphone issues earlier today as well. Good afternoon. My name is Aaron Lipson. I'm the head of enforcement for the SEC's Atlanta office. It's been a very rare opportunity today. We've been privileged to have each of the 5 commissioners from the SEC provide some of their insights and guidance into many of the key issues that each of us face in our individual lives. And for that, I want to thank the commissioners for their participation today. But there's also a lot more that has gone into making at least the first half of today successful. To that end, I want to again thank our hosts at Georgia State University's College of Law, specifically Director of Events Nick Feldman, Professor Nicole Iannarone, who heads GSU's Investor Advocacy Clinic that we heard about, and Dean Wendy Hensel as well. I'd also like to thank the numerous volunteers from GSU and the SEC who helped make today happen. I also want to thank many of the federal and state law enforcement and regulatory agencies present today, including U.S. Attorney's Office staff from the Middle District of Alabama, Northern District of Georgia, members from the FBI, FINRA, the Georgia Secretary of State's office, the Alabama Securities Commission, the North Carolina Securities Commission. When it comes to investor protection as well as capital formation, without interagency cooperation, we don't get very far. And so it is critical for continued success in all of these areas, again, from protection to growing people's personal investments, to looking forward to broader capital formation. Continued working together equals continued success. Most importantly, though, the thank you I want to bring up with true specificity is I want to thank all of you for your attendance here today. As much as we are working to provide you with information today, at this initial program and then the breakouts that are going to follow, it's you being willing to come here to provide your time, your feedback, your insight into your investment experiences, your capital formation questions. It's those experiences that you face as participants in the U.S. financial markets that are what's going to make this town hall important, and it's going to make it successful. And so, from us, we thank you today. As I indicated, we are far from finished. There are 5 unique breakout sessions, each one of which will be led by one of the commissioners, and hopefully will provide significantly more time for those questions that you had that we weren't able to get to. The sessions will include Tips for Savers, led by Commissioner Pivovar, Stopping Fraud, led by Chair Clayton, Investing in and Raising Money by Small Companies, led by Commissioner Peirce. Does the information you receive from mutual funds and ETFs work for you, led by Commissioner Jackson. And it did sound like we had a couple of questions in the digital asset space, cryptos, ICOs. That'll be led by Commissioner Stein. There is information and signage in the main lobby area to get you to your preferred breakout session. But to recap, Tips for Savers with Commissioner Pivovar will be in room 347. Stopping Fraud with Chairman Clayton will be in room 342. Small Company Capital Formation with Commissioner Peirce will be in room 242. And Mutual Fund and ETF Information with Commissioner Jackson will be in room 246. And Digital Assets with Commissioner Stein will remain in the large room. So again, thank you for your time today. We hope you enjoy the rest of the program.